racing here with the UpperEdge Racing CMC Sportsman Series. Steve Bonesteel, Shane Doherty in the booth here as always, getting ready to bring the action to you here. Currently up in the CFI blimp, getting a beautiful look of the scenery here, and with just a few moments left in qualifying the final round, probably getting ready to get kicked off in just a few moments. Shane, these drivers have quite the task on their hand.
They definitely do, and coming to Cirque Gilles Villeneuve here in Canada, huge road course, a lot of twists and turns, slow and fast turns all across this track. Gonna give these guys a unique challenge, and well, they've already had quite the challenge. Went to Road America and also went out California wine country before to start off the season. I think that was round 3 or 4. So these guys, they've had their taste of road course racing, and tonight they get another dose of it.
Yeah, and of course, this place always plays host to some really fun racing. It's a really fun, technical road course, but it's not necessarily one of those that you dread going to. There's some that, I mean, if you're like me, you say, oh, I really don't want to race this one this weekend. Well, it's really not the case here. This place always seems to be driver favorite.
It definitely is, and it's a unique racetrack. You know, it's a non-American racetrack or road course. Like we said, it's in Canada, so this track hosts plenty of other events in the GT cars and such. Not really a NASCAR-designed track, but when you throw these high-horsepowered and very heavyweight cars on this track, it's really fun to watch, and especially these first couple turns, turns 1 and 2, even 3 and 4. We've seen plenty of big-time wrecks across the years, and I think these guys are going to battle that tonight along with all the other turns.
And of course, the points battle's another thing that we're looking at. Austin Hartenfeld's missed a couple of weeks. I'm not sure if he is here this week. And yes, he is, but he's not looking too pretty on the times. He might actually not be in the server or qualifying at this point. Not sure what he's doing, but still haven't gotten any updates on him. And it looks like right now Byron Daly and Joshua Chin, they're going to be the drivers atop the leaderboard right now, and I tell you what, those are some pretty competitive guys when it comes to the road courses there. Corey Hoover, 4/10 back. Ryan Dyson, though, with a nice little qualifying effort. So he's only a 2nd and 10th off, and it sounds like a lot, and well, it is. But here at a road course, mistakes happen, so that 1 second, as long as you're consistent, might not be so much at the end of the race. Of course, tonight's race is brought to you by all of UpperEdge's great sponsors over here: Control Freak, UpperEdge Media, Thompson Photography, Crescent Moon Contracting, and more. And it is the Great Canadian 120 here at Cirque Gilles Villeneuve. And Shane, I'm pretty pumped up to see how this race is going to be, because it's always a lot of fun.
It always is, and these guys are going to go around this track 45 laps tonight. It's almost 3 miles, about 2 3/4 miles in length, and like we talked about, there's plenty of high-speed places on this racetrack where you can maybe try and make the pass down the straightaway, but also plenty of braking zones, and you know, places guys they like to give it a challenge and try and see how far they can throw that car in there, and sometimes it works better than others, so it always creates interesting racing. And we've got quite a big field here tonight. It's going to be 20+ cars, and you know, we've got some guys up here, especially like Joshua Chin. Not really in this series, but still very well known on the road courses on the iRacing service, and he's going to be one to watch along with several other guys tonight.
Top on board right here. Currently on Bradley Burke, the 5th place qualifier so far. We'll take a lap around with him. And just as I say that, he pulls it down pit road. So we'll zip back about 60 seconds here and take a look at a lap around this place.
You need a website. Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can create your own professional website that looks stunning. There are hundreds of designer-made templates to get you started. Whether you're a small business owner or an artist, we've got something for you. Wix intuitive drag-and-drop website builder lets you create a site that looks exactly the way you want. Change text, choose any background you want, add beautiful galleries, customize anything to get a site that's completely original. You can even set up an online store in seconds. With just a few clicks, you can connect your site to your favorite social media channels and add popular web apps and services like Google Maps, contact forms, and so much more. Just like that, you've got your own professional website that looks stunning and is fully optimized for mobile view. Create your stunning website today. It's easy and free.
Alright, back here at the Speedway as we are just about a minute away from getting set and ready down on the starting grid here. Drivers' times all pretty much wrapped up and put in here. Doesn't really look like anyone else other than the number 2 with Bradley Burke out here getting a little bit of extra practice, possibly hoping to maybe improve that lap time just a little tad bit. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to as he crosses the stripe there. Does not move up on leaderboards, so it looks like that will be the starting order here tonight.
Yeah, these guys getting ready to battle this road course here tonight, and just as you say that, Steve, Joshua Chin puts up a lap of 1:40.358 and goes to the top and will be your pole sitter tonight. So in the closing seconds, steals it away from Byron Daly.
Very nice, very nice. I do believe I've got to ring him with Brian. He put himself in disguise here in TeamSpeak. Mr. UpperEdge, Steven Shane up in the booth.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Pretty pumped up to watch a road race. It's been a minute since we've seen one of these. What do you think that you're going to be able to do here today? You're starting top 5 in the Great Canadian 120. So you look like you've got a good shot at it here. You've got good sitting position at least. So what do you have for these guys out here tonight?
Well, I'm not quite sure. I kind of surprised myself in qualifying. So we'll see what goes, what happens. Hopefully we just stay out of any messes we have. Hopefully everyone plays it smart tonight. Not sure what the fuel situation is going to look like. Maybe we'll make it in one stop if that's possible. Maybe try and play some strategy to get up front. Yeah, that's about all I can tell you now. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Just hopefully we play it smart and get a good top 5 finish.
Now the big question is going down into turn 1 and 2. What do you think it's going to be like getting down there? It's always pretty tight. Do you think it's going to be any different here tonight? And other question also is, how are the cautions going to work here tonight? Are they back to the way it used to be, no cautions here, or do we have a designated pace car?
I'm glad I'm starting up front for the first little bit, first few corners. I think that's going to pay dividends, so we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping we don't have any big clusters or any big messes going in through the first lap. As for cautions tonight, we're running local cautions only, and if there is a big pileup but the track's blocked, admins have the ability to throw a full course caution if needed. Obviously, without a full overtrack official, it could be a little bit difficult, but we'll use our best judgment until next season when we introduce for the first time full-time overtrack officials.
Alright, Ryan, well, we're just moments away from getting kicked off here tonight, so we're going to wish you the best of luck. Before we get you up there to get this thing kicked off, who do you have to thank?
Well, I gotta thank the guys at London Recreational Racing and Mike Schmidt helping out with not only my car and myself racing, but UpperEdge as a whole. They've come on board to sponsor the Sportsman Series, title sponsor next season, so big thanks to them, and Driven Steering Wheels, and our Expression Studios, and of course you guys as always for broadcasting.
All right, thanks for coming up here and talking to us. Shane, back over to you.
This qualifying just wrapped up. No one improves their time, so Joshua Chin's going to go ahead and sit on the pole for tonight's event. Byron Daly will start second, and Steve, 18 cars qualified, but we mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast. Austin Hartenfeld's not one of them. One of the best road course racers in this league, going to start all the way back in 19th tonight.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how he fares with the field here tonight, how he makes it through the field, if he does make it through the field, because it's easier said than done, especially like we talked about very briefly, getting down into 1 and 2. It's a challenge, and there's no denying it, Shane.
Yeah, especially later in the race, we've seen some big-time pile-ups, not only in real life, but also in several league races across the iRacing service here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So it's a unique turns 1 and 2 simply because there's runoff area there, but at the same time there's not a lot of braking room, so when the guys do get into the turn, there's really nowhere to go. It's a 1-lane track, and you basically make your own lane if you're trying to make passes. So I think we'll see more of that toward the end of the race, but these guys, it's going to be a lot of cars at the track at once here on the start, so it's going to be interesting to see how they approach that.
And they don't run a full pace lap around the speedway here, getting ready to get kicked off. Only just a short little distance, about a quarter of the distance they normally do, so the Ford Mustang pace car will start rolling, and we're just moments away from seeing that green flag drop and these guys to be unleashed. And also today's a pretty cool day over here at Checkered Flag Interactive, starting work on our winter and then hopefully 2016 graphics. Just got that kicked off, and that project will start moving on along. We'll just have to see where it goes, so we'll have a new look here coming pretty soon. But focus on tonight here as the pace car rolls through 3 and 4, or hold on 3 and 4, the final corners there, drops down to pit road. Green flag in hand, the field gets a little spread out there, and green flag up in the air, 45 laps on the board.
Interesting to see how they have this hold one approach, but Byron Daly from second spot takes the lead quickly down the front straightaway there. Joshua Chin falls back to third as here comes Ryan Dyson to second.
3 wide right there, Mark Ruffalo right in the middle. They'll sort that out, and now they head down into turn 4. Very tight chicanes right here, getting down into a quick, a very quick but tight left and then right-hander, as this is where the majority of hard wrecks will seem to happen most of the night. Looks like the field did get on through that relatively clean. I'm not seeing anyone go around, so they should be good to go here.
Yeah, that first part of the racetrack, pretty much the first third, there's not a lot of runoff area, and those guys, if they miss their marks, really they're going to hit the wall more than anything. Really, it's the curbing and then the wall right there. When you get toward the later portion of the racetrack, there is more runoff area. These guys are more accustomed to doing that at other racetracks, so a slight adjustment for these guys when they come to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, but for the most part here on this first lap, they're pretty spread out.
And the tight, very tight here, there, the final really technical corner in that part of the circuit. Always seems to get drivers, but it looks like everyone did make it through pretty cleanly. Joshua Chin wants to get a little bit closer here, look down to the inside of Dyson. Dyson's got the run, so he's not going to be able to stick that nose in there, and making that run up that final corner. Big bounce out of all those cars, but it looks like everyone's making it through that final quarter just right. And I tell you what, Shane, that final corner right there, that's where most of the drivers are going to get themselves in singular trouble, because you make that car jump a little too much, you get that wheel hop, and you get in a bad situation really quickly.
Yeah, there's been a couple of pretty famous last, particularly one I believe was involving Marcus Ambrose way back in 2009 in the Nationwide Series. It was pretty interesting. If you hit that curb just right, you can get around the guy in front of you, but at the same time, if you hit it just wrong, you're going to get passed. So we'll continue to watch that. And I believe that's why Ryan Dyson just gave up the second spot right there as he hit the curb a little awkwardly, and Joshua Chin went right on by.
Corey Hoover looked to get by his teammate there. Wasn't able to quite do so. He had a little bit of tailspin, some fishtail. Trevor Rapolo goes around, possibly some trouble there. Looks like only one car going around, and it is Trevor Rapolo, so we'll continue on rolling here.
Yeah, it looks like it's where he came off the corner and had a little bit of oversteer on the car, and it goes around. It's pretty typical when you come to a racetrack like this. It's flat banking and really tight turns, so if you get on the gas just a little bit too much off the corner, it's going to upset those rear tires, and those guys, they will fight that later in the run when the heat gets built up in those tires. But early on, I guess a little bit of a mistake there by Trevor, and he'll fall back a couple spots.
As the top 5 after now 2 laps complete is Byron Daly, Ryan Dyson, Joshua Chin, Corey Hoover, and Michael Araya. Here there's a lot of racing still to be had, but the top 10 is already separated by a gap of 10 seconds, Shane, so a significant gap between 1st and 10th place right now, and there's still a group of a lot of drivers just right on top of each other. You see a lot of them driving pink for breast cancer awareness. They're mid-pack right now, and they are a ways away from our leaders, simply because our leaders are putting down some stellar times.
They definitely are, but one car who's on his way to the front is Austin Hartenfels. To no one's surprise, did not turn a lap in qualifying, turned only a couple laps in practice, but was 5th, so you know he's got the speed on the road courses especially. He's all the way up to 13th and could be within inside the top 10 here in the first 3 laps or so, but he's still 20 seconds back of your leader, and like Ryan Dyson said when we talked to him, only local cautions tonight, so going to have to be a big wreck, I think, before if Austin Hartenfels is going to have a chance to win. Just coming from the back, you just lose so much time.
Up in front, Byron Daly's trying to run away from Joshua Chin, but Joshua Chin is having none of it. He's not letting him get away too quickly here, still sticking strong with him. And Michael Araya, Bradley Burke, they're back there, and then Mark Murphy. J.D. Laird a little bit further back than what we've seen him in the past weeks, so that number 23, JDR Graphics Machine, he's going to get a little bit of an awkward exit off that corner there, catch a little more curve than what he wants to. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Just the right amount of curb can really allow you to hit that corner good. But just like Finlayson there, you get tripped up, you get too much of it, you get some wheel hop, you lose your momentum, and that kills you down the whole front straightaway because you lost all your speed.
Definitely, and that goes for pretty much any of these turns down these long straightaways. It's all about exit. Getting a good exit, getting a straight exit, so you have that speed down the entire straightaway to make passes, especially when you're close to these guys. And for the most part, we're seeing a couple of clusters of cars. We got the cluster for the lead and a couple cars up front, but look in the back, looks like the 47 of Thomas Story made some contact with the barrier. He's back on track, but that definitely could have been worse.
Well, actually, we'll take a moment here, hop on board with Thomas. He's currently way back in 16th. He's lost a lot of spots. He lost quite a few spots on the opening lap, just getting shoved up out of the groove, really. And since then, he's just continued to fall back, and now he's all the way back in 16th after starting 11th, and he's got to work his way back up if he wants a hope at much out here.
And there's quite a few fast guys back here. Chris Wright, Joe Lawrence. We've seen some good runs from him on road courses. He's back here almost outside the top 20. Michael Finlayson touched on him a little bit. Also, Joseph Tice back in 13th. He was top 5 at Road America, I believe, so a little bit of surprise there. And we'll have to continue to follow some of these guys, see if they can make
And hopping on board right now, we're up with the top two, and they're right on top of each other. Whoa, through the technical part of the track, catching the outside wall a little bit, Joshua Chin.
Yeah, and that was what I talked about earlier. When you overstep that boundary on the first part of the racetrack, there is no runoff area. It's the curb and then the wall connecting right to it. And that time, Joshua just a little bit too much of coming off the corner, pushing the car too much, and gets into the wall. Doesn't look too bad in the right front, but could affect that car a little bit when he turns. So we'll have to follow that, but he's still very fast, and it's going to be right on the back bumper of Byron Daly. So something tells me the long run's really going to decide who's the faster of these two.
Dyson, another driver that's picked up some damage from clipping both sides of that car. Nothing too significant, but those outside and inside walls, whatever you want to call them, they've been taking people victim early on. A couple of drivers have some damage on the back bumper as well, so that signifies that someone's been rear-ended at some point, or they've driven it into the wall. Side by side there for Thomas Story and Trevor Ropolo. You might remember, spun it out a little bit earlier on. Bronson Stafford looks to make a move on Tom Bourne, the number 18 machine, as they head down the straight, down in the final corner, right on top of each other. There they go.
That's a good passing zone, really, especially when we get down to it, when you can make passes, overbreak the competitor into the corner. That time, Bronson just backed off, knows it's early. He might set up a pass here in the first turn, and that time backs off as well. So I think he's just kind of taking his time, trying to figure out how he can get around the 18 of Tom Bourne, but that's how you make passes on a road course like this, is use a little bit of draft, set him up down the straightaway, and then outbreak him into the turn and try and get by him before he slides back up, and have to follow and wait and see if he can complete the pass.
And then Shane, I'm still watching up towards our leaders. They're right on top of each other, and Byron Daly trying to hold off, trying to keep him back there, but it is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, there are definitely some turns. Joshua Chin is a lot better than Byron Daly in that last turn. That very, very, very slow right-hander. Those guys, definitely Joshua Chin faster than Byron. But that time, Byron pulls him down the straightaway, so maybe a little bit more exit speed for the 93. And looks like despite the damage, Joshua Chin, he's looking to try and lead for the first time tonight. He took the pole, but did not lead the first lap, and he has caught that gap back up and could be looking for it.
Pit stops will happen around laps, probably I do believe about lap 22, 23 here. I do believe that's the upper limit of stretching it as far as you can. This place is a relatively long road course when you actually break down the distance that these guys go around this place. So it's a pretty large track, and these guys are going to go through fuel pretty quickly. We're 7 laps into the run, so now at this point these drivers have a nice feel for it in the UpperEdge CMC Sportsman Series. We're riding around here for the Great Canadian 120 at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And it's Shane Doherty, Steve Bonesteel, as always, every Thursday night for the past 2 years, and for probably quite some time to come. We're up here in the booth calling all the action here as we watch some of the best on the iRacing surface go at it. And I tell you what, Shane, the more and more we watch this league, the more and more talent shows up.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like every other week almost, we see some new faces, and they come in here and do really well. And tonight, Joshua Chin, I believe, as I touched on it earlier, his first race tonight, I believe, in the CMC Sportsman Series. And like I said before, also, he's very well known on the iRacing service. More of an IndyCar guy, but still, he's really fast on the road courses. And tonight, showing it here, took pole in second, just behind Byron Daly for the lead. And these guys, I have a feeling, could be the Corey Hoover and Austin Hartenfells of Road America, like we saw a couple weeks ago. Those guys pretty much neck and neck the entire day. It came down to it late. So we'll have to follow that and more, but he's front two, almost 7 seconds.
And really, we haven't seen too much change around the track, and you really won't for the majority of these runs because these guys, they spread out so quickly, and unfortunately, right now, this might just be one of the last battles we see for a little bit as they go side by side. Oh, a nice little slide job out of the 79, but that will prompt the crossover out of Byron Daly. Byron Daly on the inside, and then Josh Chin. Oh, we're going to just drag race it down the straightaway here. Why not?
Yeah, we'll see who's going to have it here going into the last little part of the racetrack. Byron Daly's going to have the inside, and he'll actually clear Chin, and I think Joshua just let him in there, understanding it's still early. I definitely could have the faster car for the time being, but we'll find a better time to try and get around the 93 car. But Byron Daly, ever since taking the lead away, he has led every lap and continues to lead, and it's going to be interesting to see how these guys play strategy when they eventually do have them down pit road, because we've seen that in the past where for example, Corey Hoover and Austin Hartenfels, they've been right on top of each other at pit stops, but when you pit could definitely determine how you come out, and if you come out with a big gap with no cautions really possibly going to happen tonight, that could definitely be pretty much the end of the race.
I do believe Mark Garoppolo just found out the hard way about the tires and the bouncing here. Not entirely sure what happened actually. It looked like he might have caught that outside wall, but possibly having transmission issues down in that machine.
Yeah, definitely. These guys do a lot of shifting with the fact that we go from these long straightaways to these very slow turns. So maybe using first gear, but for the most part going from fourth to second a whole lot often. So have to follow that and more for Mark. Definitely a pretty normal issue to have on a road course, I'd say. So continue to follow that. He's currently 11th, so still running well, and definitely could salvage something.
Well, we are coming to 10 laps in this race, so we are quickly moving on along here. And Shane, these drivers, they're starting to feel it after 45 laps here. You will have some pretty sore hands because this place, it's tough on the hands. There's a lot of tight corners. There's a lot of braking involved. And you have to be focused on every single corner or you're going to get yourself in trouble.
And it's pretty much 45 laps straight from the start of the green flag. So these guys definitely, they're going to give it their all and, definitely going to use every last bit they've got in the hands and wrists. So we'll continue to see who's going to be the best at that. Just at lap 10 now. So still got well over 30 laps to go, and going to be interesting to see how this one plays out almost halfway through the fuel run.
Well, now we are 10 laps in. We're going to step away here for the Great Canadian 120 at Montreal. We'll be back in just a few moments.
you need a website. Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can create your own professional website that looks stunning. There are hundreds of designer-made templates to get you started. Whether you're a small business owner or an artist, we've got something for you. Wix intuitive drag-and-drop website builder lets you create a site that looks exactly the way you want. Change text, choose any background you want, add beautiful galleries, customize anything to get a site that's completely original. You can even set up an online store in seconds. With just a few clicks, you can connect your site to your favorite social media channels and add popular web apps and services like Google Maps, contact forms, and so much more. Just like that, you've got your own professional website that looks stunning and is fully optimized for mobile view. Create your stunning website today. It's easy and free.
Off when I enter the building.
We are 24 Designs, Jeff Gordon Graphics and more. We make custom graphics, logos, and even iRacing paint schemes. Check us out on the web at www.24-designs.com for requests today. Again, that is 24-designs.com. 24 Designs, where the best graphics are made.
Back here live at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve as these guys are continuing on around the track here. We are 12 laps total into this thing, and it's still Byron Daly leading over Joshua Chin. He's led all 12 laps completed so far. So looks like this Byron Daly, he might be here to maybe put a little bit of a domination night down on the rest of these guys. But, I mean, it's not going to be an easy one, and you can't call it quite yet because we've still got over half of the race, and pretty much anything can happen, and we've seen it in times past where just when you think that you have your pick all played out, some chaos happens. Ryan Dyson right now battling with J.D. Laird, takes a big dive to the inside, not going to be able to make the pass, and Bradley Burke's right on the tail end of these guys as well, so a little bit of a three-car battle right here for the 6th position.
Yeah, the JDR Army, they're working strong in 6th, and Ryan Dyson goes way right there in 7th, and goes in the grass, picks it back up, and he'll have to let Bradley Burke go. Tries to get back up to speed, might get a little bit of a holding penalty there for the iRacing service, cutting the course. He did just get loose, so he'll actually lose 2 spots there. Austin Hartenfels will also make his way around, so just like that, you overshoot a turn, and you could be 3, 4, even 5 spots back from where
Hoover, Byron Daly, they're still battling it out up in front of the field. No one really making any definite moves, but they're definitely right there with each other. Mark Murphy hanging out in 5th right now, quietly. Nobody's really talked about him here tonight. Zach Michael having an off night, usually inside the top 10. Right now he's currently 16th, so quite a bit further back than what we're used to. Tom Bourne has retired from the event, and so has Joe Lawrence.
Yeah, we had 23 cars start tonight's event, 20 on the lead lap. Mike Tellier has been to pit road, and he's back out there. Tom Bourne, as you said, Steve, done for the night along with Joe Lawrence. So tough break for both those guys, but for the time being, the leaders, they have cleared track, but coming up within the next couple of laps could start to see some lap traffic.
Joshua Chin got passed up there, or past Byron Daly, excuse me, and that moves Byron Daly over to 2nd, and significantly, that gap is already 2.6 seconds between the two of them.
Yeah, it looks like the final turns what got Byron might have either had a shifting problem or something might have happened on the front straightaway, because that car was all of a sudden slow and then picked it back up, but Joshua Chin went right around and he leads his first lap of the night and will now look to possibly gain some momentum here as these guys work in the later stages of this first run. I think it's going to all come down to when they come down pit road compared to the guys around them and how that tire strategy really is going to affect the running order.
And it's going to be just a very, very long night of these guys just duking it out left and right. Maybe one driver will be right on top of it, and then one moment you're going to see someone make a mistake, and just like that, I mean, I see someone crab walking up there in front of the leader. I don't believe I got a number on that. Did you?
It's the 20 of Chris Wright. Yeah, that car is very injured. Definitely crab walking, and I'd say the toe is just about broken on that car, unfortunately for Chris, and he'll bring it down pit road.
So we're continuing to see drivers have issues here early on. We're not quite halfway. We're about 10 laps out from being halfway. So a lot of these drivers still getting a feel for this track, even though we've been green since the drop of the green flag.
Any considerable gap, pretty much way back. You got the first couple of cars within 10 seconds of each other, first through fourth, 10 seconds, but then fifth place. That's Mark Murphy. He's 25 seconds off of your leader, Joshua Chin. So that's already quarter of a minute, and we're nowhere near halfway. So definitely interesting, the kind of pace that Joshua Chin is setting. He could possibly lap half the field, if not more, before this race is over, at least at the pace he's going. So we'll have to watch that. Lap traffic, always something interesting to watch at a road course. Not a lot of room here. So when that comes into play later in the race, these guys, that's a different element they're going to have to battle. They haven't battled it so far in the race. But so far, after that little bit of a mishap by Byron Daly, he's dropped back 3 seconds now, and Joshua Chin, he's got a comfortable lead.
Mark Garoppolo, driver that I've been watching, he's continuing to fall back. So is Ryan Dyson. Dyson's in 10th right now. Struggling as Shane Terrian will be the next driver to catch up to Dyson. The number 97 of that's Mike Tellier. He's not racing for position. Traffic there.
Yeah, I really think Ryan Dyson's definitely, he's dropped back the most, I'd say, at least for the cars up front. Very loose off the corner. I think the rear tires are all but gone on that car. So maybe a strategy Ryan might want to try. Maybe short pitting, coming onto pit road earlier than the rest of his competitors. Just get some new tires on that car. It seems like for whatever reason they're definitely not doing him really any justice out there at this point in the event, and he continues to fall. But definitely could be in jeopardy of losing even more spots. So for Ryan, definitely possibly short pitting could help him. But you know, it's your gamble. You short pit, you definitely have to run a longer second pace. So we'll have to wait and see how these guys play the strategy.
Yeah, the upper limit on pretty much heading down pit road is like I talked about very briefly earlier, about lap 22 to 24, and after that, then you're really just pushing it too far. So I mean, there's still a chance that drivers could come down a little bit early, work some type of strategy out. Fuel can absolutely 7 laps, but that right there would probably be just the conservative route and pushing it too hard. Michael Finlayson in trouble.
Yeah, he's around in the middle almost of the track. Got severe front end damage. Something tells me that car might have came off the corner and pounded the inside or outside wall. It's also got some rear end damage, so might have had some help.
Yeah, catching the tail end of that, yeah, loops it around once, then spins it around and gets creamed there. So unfortunately for Finlayson, he's not in a very good situation. the while, Shane. Very impressed right now watching as Joshua Chin. He's now 9 seconds pulled away from Byron Daly.
Yeah, something tells me when he was right behind Byron, might have been saving a little bit, at least on that early part of the run, because that car, what a rocket ship it is in the second half of this run, and something tells me he might leave that car out as long as he can, because he's the fastest car on the racetrack by far. No one's even close to him lap time wise, so have to see how he handles that. But with that kind of lap time, he is approaching lap traffic. As I said, the next car, Thomas Story, and the 47 car back in 18th will be the next car to be lapped, and then we've got a couple other cars about 10 to 15 seconds in front of him. So maybe later in the race that'll be more of a factor, but I think definitely Joshua Chin asserting himself to be the favorite to win tonight's race.
Hartenfels continues on the charge here. This is probably one of the more interesting stories on the night. Hartenfels is by far the quickest moving driver through the field. He started 19th up to 7th right now, and I do believe he may actually, I'm gonna have to check, but he's getting pretty close to getting up to 6th. Yeah, Bradley Burke's only 2.5 seconds ahead of him.
Yeah, Austin's lap time's inside the top 5, so he's one of the faster cars on the racetrack. He does have some pretty severe right side damage. Have to figure out maybe where that happened, but nonetheless, starting back in 19th, not really affecting him at all. He's still over half a minute behind your leader, Joshua Chin. That's just how dominant Joshua's been all night. It's 36 seconds back from Austin to Joshua, so have to continue to follow that. But I think for Austin Hartenfels, he knows missing these last couple of weeks has really hurt his chances for the championship, pretty much dissolved those away. So maybe just trying to have some fun tonight, trying to make some interesting things happen here. He's always been a good road course racer, and starting from the back, working your way through the field, always fun. And so far he's in the top 7 and could get a top 5 out of it.
And Corey Hoover's quickly picking up to Byron Daly, and he might be able to make that pass on Byron, move up to 2nd, and then Corey Hoover points leader by a considerable amount. I do believe about 50 points there. So I'll pull it up there on the screen. You have 53 points over Mark Murphy, Chris Wright, Michael Araya, and Ryan Dyson. Almost all of the drivers in the top 5 having a pretty lackluster day so far.
Yeah, Mark Murphy's in 5th, Michael Larrea is 4th, but then besides that, everyone else around these guys.
Spins out.
As we just say that, but Daly does go around. Actually, he's going to do a nice job to save it. He goes off course, I guess we'll say. Completely missed that last couple turns and loses a ton of time, and that'll put him back to 4th.
Yeah, didn't quite catch that altercation quite originally, but yeah, he just overshot that corner and decided it'd be more effective and less risky to just slow it down, avoid the slowdown penalty, and get that machine wound up.
Yeah, those last 2 turns, turns 12 and 13, very difficult. You gotta curb hop the car around and try and get it to get the grip off the corner, but that time By just missed his braking point, I guess, and like you said, Steve, just took it right through, and he continues on, but he'll have to try and figure out how he'll make his way toward the front. He's another one of those guys really fast on the short run, but as we near the end of this first run, struggling quite a bit.
A little bit of side-by-side contact there between Hartenfels and J.D. Laird, beating and banging through the chicane.
Yeah, JD's trying to take away this 7th spot from Austin Hartenfels. I think Austin, maybe that right side damage affecting that car just a little bit. But look at Mark Rapolo right behind these guys in 9th, possibly looking to take away 8th from JD Laird. talked about the issues Mark was having earlier. Apparently those have subsided themselves, and he is making his way toward the front. Started 9th, he's currently 9th, but has been one of the faster long-run cars on the track. Always a welcoming sign when you see yourself catching these guys in front of you.
It's 15 seconds now as Byron Daly goes off course again. Catches a little bit of the outside retainer wall. So Byron Daly struggling right now. Bradley Burke, he's just outside that top 5. I tell you what, he's a dark horse here. We watched him a little bit during qualifying, taking extra practice laps around here. So he might be a driver to keep your eye on here tonight, depending on how things shake out on pit road.
Yeah, he's got the opportunity to get around Mark Murphy, but then after that he's over 20 seconds behind the 4th place car of Byron Daly. And that's just pretty surprising. And we're talking about Bradley Burke in 6th. He's 40 seconds back of your leader, Joshua Chin. Just continues to speak dividends to Joshua's dominance tonight. And 16 cars left on the lead lap. Bronson Stafford will be the next car to go a lap down. That will probably happen here in the second half of the race, as he's still 20 seconds in front of your leader. But now that we're on lap 20, these guys coming down to it, probably within the next lap or two, we'll start seeing some guys come down pit road.
Mark Garoppolo is right there on the back bumper of JD Laird, and he wants to take away that 8th position from that JDR graphics machine. And we saw that number 3, he was pretty quick early on, got pushed 3 wide real quick, and he allowed all the drivers really to go on by, so that lost him right off the bat a couple of spots. So right now he's just trying to climb back up through the field. Ryan Dyson all the way back in 10th, Shane Tarian in 11th. So a lot of front runners, what we usually see, they're running mid-pack right now, just struggling at this place, as it's been a tough one so far.
Also got to mention Joseph Tice. He's running 12th, started 20th. Actually had a bad day at Road America. Correct myself from earlier, but he's really been fast on most of these road courses. Been one of those guys who, you know, kind of sneaky like Bradley Burke, who, you know, not expected to have a good day, but comes out and finishes well. And that last time by, got around Austin Hartenfels, who's actually the first car to bring it down pit road. But Joseph Tice knocking on the door of a top 10.
Austin Hartenfels, the first driver to pull it down pit road, and he's going to probably be able to come out not too bad. His stop was right on par with an average stop, so his time should be fine out here, but pit stops have begun.
In Austin's case, really nothing to lose, and if any car had used their tires up, it was Austin getting through the field. He passed over 10 cars from 19th all the way up to 7th, so definitely using up all those tires, and we saw him fading a little bit later into that run, so he'll go ahead, split the race up. It'll be a little bit longer second run by about 2 or 3 laps or so, but he is going to be the fastest car on the racetrack for the next couple of laps, top cycle through.
So now with Corey Hoover on pit road, it'll be interesting who's going to be the next driver to pull it on down. It's only going to be a matter of time, I do believe, before we start to see most of the field be ducking down pit road, getting their pit stop over with here early on. And we'll just have to see. We're going to step away for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll take you through everything you need to know here as people head down to pit road for their first stop of the night.
off when I enter the building.
You need a website. Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can create your own professional website that looks stunning. There are hundreds of designer-made templates to get you started. Whether you're a small business owner or an artist, we've got something for you. Wix's intuitive drag-and-drop website builder lets you create a site that looks exactly the way you want. Change text, choose any background you want, add beautiful galleries, customize anything to get a site that's completely original. You can even set up an online store in seconds. With just a few clicks, you can connect your site to your favorite social media channels and add popular web apps and services like Google Maps, contact forms, and so much more. Just like that, you've got your own professional website that looks stunning and is fully optimized for mobile view. Create your stunning website today. It's easy and free.
Alarms go off when I enter the building.
Back here as the drivers continue on around Montreal here, 20 laps to go. As Joshua Chin still out in front, pit stops are almost complete. The only driver to not come down pit road is Mark Murphy, and he's only got a couple of laps of fuel left, so he will be bringing it down pretty quickly here, if not this coming lap. And I do believe, yep, he has brought that machine down pit road.
Interesting thing to note, the 93 Byron Daly, that car pulled into pit road, took 4 tires and fuel, and well, never left the pit stall. They pushed him back behind the wall, and it looks like he is done for the night. So who knows what happened there. Could have been something on the pit stop, might have broken axle or something. But Byron Daly done for the night.
Yeah, unfortunately, Shane, I do believe that's what I'm hearing. Reports say they dropped that left end. He was turning on the gas, and when it came down, it killed it. Another driver that's been killed, though, is Shane Darian, that number 38 machine. He's got significant right side damage, and when I say significant, those wheels, you can see how much damage has accumulated on them. So that number 38 Monster Energy machine has a lot of damage on that machine, and he's got a long way to go if he wants to make any of that time back up. He's still on the lead lap, impressively, in 11th, but that machine currently running 4 to 5 seconds slower than the average car out there.
Still running in the 11th spot, though, so he's got about 10 seconds back to Trevor Roppolo, who's in 12th. And by the way, Trevor Roppolo up to 12th, that's really good considering that car was around in the first 3 laps or so, spun out, but he's done a nice job to recover. But 12th place of Trevor, he's the final on the lead lap. Joshua Chin now 8 seconds over Corey Hoover, and could have almost up to the top 10 laps before the end of this race. So with the retire of Byron Daly, I think Corey Hoover, the only last chance to try and get around Joshua Chin for the win. Other than that, it's pretty much his race to lose.
Still got a small group of drivers still racing for position. Dyson, Laird, and Burke. They're all within about a second and a half of each other. None of these drivers really making any impressive strides to break away from one another, but they're all still right there.
And since pit stops on the short run, these guys have had on those newer tires. Ryan Dyson, the beneficiary, back into 7th. He was 10th when pit stops cycles began. Of course, everyone moves up a spot from Byron Daly, but nonetheless, still some couple spots gained by Ryan Dyson. So we'll have to follow that and more. But Bradley Burke, that car slipping almost outside the top 10 back in 9th. They're all on top of each other, so anything could happen, but still, pit stops kind of shaking up 5th through 10th.
Fells is continuing on his journey up through the field. Very impressed right now, as he is currently in 4th position. Let's just highlight that right there. That is determination.
15 spots from the drop of the green flag in 27 laps, mind you. Some of that strategy, some of that due to other drivers having problems, but still, that is by far the biggest mover. There's no one even remotely close to the amount of cars that Austin has passed on the racetrack tonight. Very impressive. He's got a chance for that podium. He's got 15 seconds to Michael Larea, but still a long ways to go in this race. We're past halfway, but still around 40% or so of the event still to go. So you never know what can happen in Austin. Always fast on road courses. Can't count them out.
Corey Hoover 7 seconds back from Josh Chen, and he's not really getting any closer. They're running almost identical lap times, which is an impressive feat on its own here at a road course. So these guys matching each other.
this group 7th and 9th. Yeah, definitely very close to each other. Really the only battle on the racetrack and the only battle inside the top 10. The guys still on the lead lap, 1st through 11th at the time being. Shane Terrian, I believe, actually brought that car to pit road, so he's now 17th, 2 laps down. So tough break for Shane, but nonetheless, starting to see some guys make their way toward the front. Zach Michael, he's up into 12th. Started 12th, so he's back to where he started, but struggled in the first part of this race, so good to see there. Also, Justin Krzyzewski started 16th up to 13th, so those guys making progress here in the middle portion of the race.
And those guys, really, you just can't break them up here as we watch them head around the speedway. Still just right on top of each other. None of them are really breaking away. Still a little bit of contact there. Oh, a lot of contact there. They're actually... Oh, that was actually lag. You can tell the way that worked out. They went inside the cars. They lagged inside of each other. And that's going to cause both of them to go around. We'll take a look at the replay.
Yeah, that was very interesting. That was a little bit of just a love tap. The corner turned into a huge wreck, and first it was Ryan Dyson got tagged, then he gets loose, and then he overcorrects into J.D. Laird, and as you said, Steve, a little bit of internet lag there definitely didn't help the situation, but both those guys go around, and Bradley Burke, all of a sudden, he's the beneficiary, and he'll pick up 7th.
So it's still a very spread out race around the track right now, really. The closest gap between any other drivers is Mark Robilo and Mark Murphy, and they're just within a second of each other here, and they're probably going to start racing pretty soon. But other than that, everyone else is spread out considerably.
Yeah, 10 cars on the lead lap. We've got several cars 1 lap down. 11 through 16th, or 11 through 15th, excuse me, is 1 lap down. Then a couple other cars several laps down. Crash damage. Just speaks the kind of pace by Joshua Chin. Continue to stress it all night. Before this race is over, I don't think he'll have any problems lapping up to at least 8th place. Obviously, with those problems to J.D. Laird and Ryan Dyson, they could be off the pace a little bit. So, some pretty dominating pace. Corey Hoover pretty much staying the same gap from Joshua Chin, and at this point, if he's 7.5 seconds back and barely gaining, he's not going to have enough time to get there.
Yeah, really, 15 laps still. A lot of racing to do around the speedway, so there's still a lot of things that could happen. No more pit stops are projected for really anyone out there. So they're just going to be driving from this point on. And it's just going to be whoever can be flawless, not make that mistake. Joshua Chin, really in his first appearance here, he's made a very strong stand. So there's an obvious stand right there, and he's 8.3 seconds ahead of him. So not really any challenge unless he makes a mistake. Shane, as we watch these guys continue on around the speedway, what do you think is going to be the most important things here? As we're coming down to the tail end of the season, we've only got a few more races left.
Yeah, definitely. And I think at this point in the season, you know, there's clusters of guys that are close to each other in the points, and they have that opportunity to pass some guys. And I think the championship pretty much decided for Corey Hoover. He just shows up, does what he continues to do, and that's finish top 5 each and every week. He should have no problem bringing that home, barring any incidents that could happen. But, you know, for the most part, these guys up front, they know they're going to finish well. They have those standings locked up, but guys in the back, maybe points not really a big deal to them anymore. Might make some risks in these races, try and get some wins, just because that matters more to them at this point. So definitely, that's what happens later in the season. You get the group of guys taking risks, and the other guys, well, they're points racing.
They're so spread out, though, and that's making it the biggest challenge out here for most of these drivers. It is really tough to make up time at a road course, especially when you're so far back. You can't quite see the drivers up in front of you. You're out there racing all on your own for a long time before you start to see anyone even close in competition.
That and the fact there's no cautions here today, or at least full course cautions. How spread out these guys are, I think it's pretty confident to say we won't see a full course caution, local yellows only. So you are where you are at this point, barring any incidents to happen, and this field's pretty spread out and should remain that way.
Mark Ruppolo, Mark Murphy, finally, they're right on top of each other, and that's what they're about to start doing is battle here as they're side by side. It looks like Mark Ruppolo might just let Murphy go on by.
Still an impressive run by Mark Ruppolo. Can't believe, talking about earlier in the race, possibly transmission issues or something going on with that car. He's marched his way into the top 10 and into the top 5 there, just lost the 5th spot to Mark Murphy. But still a very impressive run here by Ruppolo, and could come away with a great finish today nonetheless.
We're going to go ahead, take our final commercial break of the night. When we come back, we'll take you to the finish here at Montreal.
You need a website. Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can create your own professional website that looks stunning. There are hundreds of designer-made templates to get you started. Whether you're a small business owner or an artist, we've got something for you. Wix intuitive drag-and-drop website builder lets you create a site that looks exactly the way you want. Change text, choose any background you want, add beautiful galleries, customize anything to get a site that's completely original. You can even set up an online store in seconds. With just a few clicks, you can connect your site to your favorite social media channels and add popular web apps and services like Google Maps, contact forms, and so much more. Just like that, you've got your own professional website that looks stunning and is fully optimized for mobile view. Create your stunning website today. It's easy and free.
Alarms go off when I enter the building.
We are 24 Designs, Jeff Gordon Graphics and more. We make custom graphics, logos, and even iRacing paint schemes. Check us out on the web at www.24-designs.com for requests today. Again, that is 24-designs.com. 24 Designs, where the best graphics are made.
Back here now with 9 laps to go at the Speedway. Joshua Chin still out front. 24 laps led in his pocket there. He's got 12 seconds over Corey Hoover, so it's safe to say that it's going to take a big mistake out of Joshua Chin if anyone wants to come up here and dethrone him.
Yeah, definitely. He's got the fastest car on the racetrack. There is no car even near him on the long runs compared to lap time wise, and he's pretty much walked away from Corey Hoover. Any hope that Corey had of reeling him in and possibly making this a little bit more interesting race toward the end, possibly a battle for the lead, well, that's no more. 11.5 seconds continues to grow. Definitely Joshua Chin, the car to beat, coming up on some lap traffic.
We're watching a battle on track now between Austin Hartenfels, the driver that's he's had the Cinderella story here tonight. He's come all the way from the back, all the way, started from the bottom, now he's here. And he's running very nice inside that top 5. But Mark Murphy, Mark Garoppolo, they're right there behind him. If one slight mistake in the next 8 laps happens, they're going to take that spot away from him.
Yeah, definitely. And nonetheless, wherever Austin Hartenfels finishes, even if it's inside the top 10, still an amazing amount of cars he's passed tonight. Right now, if he finishes 4th, that would be 15 cars from the original 19th starting spot. That's really impressive considering how small room you have to work with here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in passing cars. Now, he did do most of that in the early portion of this race. It's definitely been no easy going up there in the top 4. He's got right side damage, but nonetheless, doing a nice job and hanging strong.
And in the Great Canadian 120, as the laps continue to click on off here, our leader's in some lap down traffic. He's just going to bump Ryan Dyson up out of the way there, and he'll move him out of the way. He'll look to the next car, sweep right through the middle there, and move on through. That did lose him a little bit of time, though, just having to deal with that lap down traffic, but it's not going to be enough to really make much of a difference down the road here. As 7 laps remain here at Montreal, as Ryan Dyson gets very loose right there behind our leader, and keywords behind our leader.
Yeah, definitely, and definitely not the same. I'd say Ryan Dyson he hits the wall hard there off the corner. That car not the same after going around with J.D. Laird, and he was one of those guys who struggled longer into the run, so those rear tires probably especially cooked this run. Also definitely not good to see there for Ryan. Still top 10 though, so a decent night. But Joshua Chin just taking it easy around this lap traffic. You got over 10 seconds, well over 10 seconds really. It's still almost 11.5 now despite going through the lap traffic. Just take your time, run your own pace. You have nothing to lose. Really slowing it down and giving these guys room, and he's doing just that.
Top 5 as they run is Chin, Hoover, Lariah, Hartenfels, and Murphy, as the laps are just coming down to the wire, clicking on off. It's really just going to be, pretty much just a Joshua Chin show unless something big happens.
Yeah, 6 laps to go. It's his race to lose, and something tells me he's going to back it off, take it easy, and pretty much cruise to victory at this point. Corey Hoover, he's got half a minute back to Michael Larea, so it's pretty much his second place to lose, I guess you could say. Then Michael Larea, he's got quite a lot of time to Austin Hartenfels. Austin Hartenfels really the only car I'd say that's in jeopardy of losing a spot. Mark Murphy's kind of gaining a little bit. They kind of switch back lap times each and every lap. But 4th, 5th, and 6th pretty much the only spots up for grabs in the closing laps.
And with the laps clicking off and these guys so far back from the leader, I mean, it's really just, at this point, staying consistent and making sure you don't wreck. When you go into a place like Montreal, Watkins Glen, any of the road courses, you know you've got to be on your game. Once you get behind, it's really, you just got to hope and pray that the guy in front of you makes a mistake. It's very hard to make 15 seconds up. Even 15, under 15, 10 seconds, really, really tough to make up.
Especially later into this race, later into a run, these guys get very loose off the corner. The rear tire's not really agreeing with the amount of horsepower these cars possess, so you know, taking care of your tires and really not making mistakes. We've seen cars go off track, really not any big accidents, so for the most part, they've done a nice job handling that.
Now Chin continues to rack up the laps led, now up to 27. Corey Hoover still setting 10.7 seconds back, and then 41 seconds back to Michael O'Reilly. Although Hartenfels and Mark Murphy might start battling it back out once more.
Murphy gets a great run into that corner. Going to have to see how he can hang on there. Not the run off the corner. That's what you give up when you dive the car in. You can make up a lot of time that the guy in front of you has, and Hartenfels pulls him a little bit down the straightaway. Looks like Mark Murphy, really, he's going to try and take away the spot. Seems to be the faster car, but still got more laps and plenty more turns to try and make a move.
With 5 laps remaining as Joshua Chin heads around the hairpin here. I mean, it's those races, but next week we've got the upcoming schedule here, and these guys go to some tough tracks to wrap up the season, I tell you what. Next week's Talladega, that's going to be an exciting race, so I'll make sure you tune in for that one. But Pocono, New Hampshire, those tracks right there, those are very technical circuits for the drivers. And then you go to Kansas, where the outside line, even though the new update should have made it so the track is more raceable all the way around, it's still no different. The outside's the only place to go, and then of course the final race of the season at Homestead, and then that wraps up the season. And things are going to be going very, very quickly over the next few weeks, because this season has gone by like a rocket.
It really has, and that's the cool part about the UpperEdge CMC Sportsman Series, is the schedule is so diverse. I know it follows some of the real-life schedules, but just tonight, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, another road course. That's the 3rd one, I believe, on the season. And that's good to see. Always been an advocate for having more of these road courses and super speedways, 1.5-mile short tracks to close out the year. Really a great mix of diversity for these guys.
Bradley Burke, unfortunately, was not able to get back up to that top 5 that he worked so hard to place himself in at the start of this race. And although, even with that said, he's ran probably one of the cleanest races out on track.
Yeah, it definitely has. Not a mark on that car. And he's doing a nice job, and in 7th right now, and really no one around him, so he can pretty much cruise around where he is and take home a nice top 10.
And that's really the best way to do it here if you don't necessarily have the speed to get the victory, but you have just enough to float on by. That's one way to do it. Stay out of trouble, bring home a clean car, and then get some momentum heading towards next week here as Mark Murphy tries to close down on Austin Hartenfels once more. 3 laps remain, coming to 2 laps here pretty quickly, as this race is really... it's been a very spread out race. Most of these drivers have had a tough night. The outside walls to these corners have been very brutal. So this race probably, the driver's pretty happy that it's almost over.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long one, Steve. Like we said, no cautions. These guys have been non-stop twisting and turning around this road course, an hour and 15 minutes now. So definitely no worse for the wear for a lot of these guys. Joshua Chin, probably the happiest of all of them right now. Dominating lead, in command, about to win.
as he's going to come to the final corner here to get 2 laps to go. That number 79 had a pretty much flawless race, and I'd say pretty much because he's got some significant right side damage.
Yeah, might have popped all in one of these turns, but he's got pretty much 10 seconds to play with, so these last 2 laps, he could go 5 seconds slower than Corey Hoover and still win this race, so I think Joshua Chin just keeping all 4-ters on the track, and he's pretty much in the catbird seat.
Corey Hoover, he's trying, but unfortunately that car is toast. Those tires are toast. These drivers have not pit in about 22, 23 laps, so if they've been pushing it all out pretty hard right now, their tires are far too gone to really do much. So we'll just have to watch here, as the only battle on track is the one on the screen. Is just as I'm talking about tires, Austin Hartenfels, his tires are struggling here as they're side by side.
Yeah, his tires might be giving up on, unfortunately, one of the worst portions of the race, the last couple laps, and Mark Murphy goes right around him to take away the 4th spot. So Austin still in the top 5, but he's going to have to find a way to cool him off here shortly and try and make his way around Mark before this race ends.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he's able to take back that 4th place position, but if he can't, I tell you what, it's still a beautiful job that he made it as far as he did. We've talked about it all race long. I mean, he started way back outside the top 15. So that number 29, regardless of where he finishes here, as long as it's in top 5, top 6, he did a great job. But he is not done duking it out with Mark Murphy. He pushes Mark all the way to the grass. We're going side by side here.
Like a battle on really old tires, these guys doing there. Nice move by Austin Hartenfels, who takes back that 4th spot, and he's going to have to hang on to it. But Mark Murphy, he's got some problems of his own, as Mark Rapolo goes right behind him. These guys battling for 4th, 5th, and 6th, and I know Rapolo, he's just not going to lay back and watch these guys. He's going to the outside of Murphy.
And all the meanwhile, the white flag is out in the air, so these guys know that there's only a matter of time left before their results will be official and counted here by the server. And it does look like Hartenfels might be able to retain that spot as he pulls away from Mark Murphy and Mark Rapolo, but he's got to complete this one final lap in order to do so officially.
Also got some lap traffic. 97 Mike Tellier pulls to the outside, I guess you'd say there. Off corner exit. Nice job there. Gives those guys room, and Austin Hartenfels about 5 or 6 car lengths back to those guys. Just needs a nice clean lap here, and he'll bring home a top 4.
Murphy gives it a really big dive, but it's not going to really be able to do much here. Either way, coming around through the final corners, it's going to be Joshua Chin in the number 79. 32 laps led here tonight, and he will bring home victory here. Coming across the stripe, final lap, checkered flag for the number 79, and he's going to do a little bit of wiggly, some swerving, and he'll call it a night there and burn him down in turn 1. Coming across.
Yeah, what a dominating victory.
For second, it's going to be Corey Hoover. He'll come away with a nice race, good points day. Again, he's got 50 points to burn, though, so he doesn't need to worry too much. Michael Araya will finish probably in third here, just a couple corners left, and the only other battle left on track is between these guys, and it's pretty much solidified unless someone makes a mistake.
Yeah, Austin Hartenfels, he's extended that gap between Mark Murphy and Mark. He's just trying to hang on for Mark Rapolo here. I think Austin Hartenfels in a good spot. Mark Rapolo definitely, though, he's going to have to make something happen, maybe try and outbrake Mark Murphy into one of these turns. Not a lot of chances left to do that. Looks like coming out of that last turn there, on. Comes from 19th to 4th. Pretty impressive showing there. Mark Murphy completes the top 5. Mark Rockwell and Bradley Burke all in a row there.
Final results on the screen here after a long one at Montreal. Joshua Chin comes away with victory over Corey Hoover, Michael Araya, Austin Hartenfels, Mark Murphy, Mark Ropolo, Bradley Burke, J.D. Laird, and Joseph Tyson, Ryan Dyson round out the top 10. Trevor Ropolo, Justin Krasinski, Brodson Stafford, Zach, Michael Thomas Story, Mike Tellier, Chris Wright, Shane Terry, and Byron Daly, and Michael Finlayson. Shane, after such a long race, what do you think played the biggest role in the way that the victory laid out?
I think for Joshua Chin, he had the ball, so he had the speed, but did not lead the early portions of this race. But when he got out, there was consistency that ultimately propelled him to tonight's victory, especially having that long run speed. Took the best care of his tires. Noticed a lot of guys really struggled with those rear tires as the run went on. Joshua Chin managed them the best. Very fast, had by far the best long run car out of anybody, and takes home the victory on that principle, and really a dominating victory tonight for him.
Yeah, it really was. It was one of those races where you had your pick and you thought that it might work out, but that didn't, and then you saw Joshua Chin. He was right there. He battled for it for quite some time, and then he took it over, and as soon as he took it over, he did not look back.
He definitely didn't, and tonight, once again proves that it does not take a lot of different things to come into this league and win. He's Josh, a very successful racer on iRacing, and he comes in and wins his first race. Pretty impressive, and he beat a lot of really good guys: Corey Hoover, Austin Hartenfels, and also Byron Daly. Obviously, Byron pulled it off early, but still, lots of impressive guys racing tonight, and he beat them all.
Well, unfortunately, no one's up here in TeamSpeak. Hopefully, they find their way maybe next week. So for tonight's broadcast here at Montreal, we will see you next time. Thanks for watching the Great Canadian 120.